Hello and welcome back to my channel. Before we get started, click on the subscribe button because you will find my videos interesting. Don't forget to like and be part of the conversations by simply sharing your thoughts on what you think at the end of the video. Now today we delve into a nuanced conversation about the historical legacy of colonization and its implications on Africans. Acknowledging the complexities surrounding this topic, we aim to foster understanding and open dialogue. Beyond the broad strokes of history, we confront the fact that this palm color lady said in this video to say that all palm color people, wherever they are, owe their positions solely to the role of colonizers. I didn't say it, but she did. So check these videos out. I will be right back, and when I do, we talk more about this topic.
The only reason that in the United States or anywhere we are, in Europe, in Africa, in Australia, in Israel, wherever we are the colonizers. We are the colonizers, and we live off the expense of the Europe's assault on Africa, the kidnapping of African human beings, all of these things that we hear today. This is where it came from. Hundreds of years of assaulting and stealing everything that African people and Africa as a continent had, and putting it into the hands of people. And so this is why, as the chairman has said, the true class struggle, the true working class in the world is the African and colonized working class. Yes. Not people, because all people, and you know this is true. You and I know this is true by just living our lives and seeing it. All sit on the pedestal, on the backs of African and indigenous people. And, you know, the statistics are that even poor people have an easier ability in a crisis to raise $3,000 in an emergency than middle-class African people do. Yeah. Because we live in social wealth. Yeah. We live with the wealth surrounding.
People don't call us colonizers just because we are white or because of events that happened 400 years ago. People call us colonizers because of our present mentality. Because when someone says to us that our government, with the support of our ancestors, our people, committed horrible, evil atrocities against indigenous Americans, and they are still suffering from the impact of those atrocities today, and we as a society haven't even so much as apologized for those atrocities, we don't acknowledge that fact. We can't acknowledge that fact because we're too busy trolling social media, complaining about the fact that Lance, the modern warrior, told us a hard truth rather than stroking our fragile egos. That is why people call us colonizers.
Now, to start, colonialism is defined as control by one power over an area or people. Colonial logic during the rise of European colonization asserted that a place didn't exist unless palm color Europeans had seen and testified to its existence, justifying colonization. Colonizers in what is now the US believed that palm color people or Europeans constitute a superior race and should therefore dominate society by upholding institutional or systematic racism and creating systems that advance the palm color population while exploiting minorities, overlooking and many times causing hardships for minorities. So today, a modern colonizer is someone who upholds colonial ideology and the advancement of it. According to Merriam-Webster's dictionary, the definition of colonialism is the domination of a people or area by foreign state or nation. Another definition is the practice of extending and maintaining a nation's political and economic control over another people or area. Colonial logic asserted at the time that a place did not exist unless palm color Europeans had seen it and testified its existence. I had to repeat that, guys. Now, of course, the example that we know best is the United States, right? The origin of 13 colonies of Britain invaded a country that already had an indigenous population living here. Now, people talk about colonialism in the United States and they forget to talk about the violence that was committed against the Native American people that were already living here. They forget forget to talk about the near genocide that was committed so that palm color people could steal the land that Americans live on today. Now, instead, they teach their children about manifest destiny, how God ordained the palm color man to go west. Did you know that there are various types of colonialism? Let's talk about two. Now, the first one being exploitation. Colonialism that involves fewer colonies and focuses on the exploitation of natural resources like diamonds or labor to the benefit of the metropole. Like when you accidentally land in the country that you were not intentionally looking for, but you find God. So you enslave the indigenous people there until you accidentally give them diseases. So you turn around and you go to another country, say like Africa, and you ship them in and enslave that population, something like that. This form consists of trading posts as well as larger colonies where colonies would constitute much of the political and economic administration unless you enslave them. European colonization of Africa and Asia was largely conducted under the auspices of exploitation and colonialism. Now, another form of colonialism is settler colonialism. Settler colonialism involves large-scale immigration by settlers to colonies often motivated by religious, political, or economic reasons. This form of colonialism aims largely to support prior existing populations with a settler one and involves a large number of settlers immigrating the colonies for the purpose of establishing settlements. Now, can you think of an example besides the United States of settler colonialism? Now, people tout positives of colonialism, but they are typically the ones who weren't impacted by it. Let's use the United States as an example. When people tout positives of colonization, they aren't asking how many of the indigenous tribes are left. They're not asking that. They're not asking how much of the indigenous culture is left. No, they don't talk about indigenous children who were taken from their tribes and put into residential schools to have their culture beat out of them, because the sole purpose of kidnapping them was to eradicate the indigenous lifestyle. They weren't talking about bad or asking those questions. No. Now, some of the not so positive impacts of colonization that people don't talk about is the spread of diseases like measles and smallpox, detribalization, exploitation, genocide, and enslavement. The European system took approximately 11 million Africans to the Caribbean and to North and South America as slaves. I'm going to add aside. Loss of familiar land, loss of familiar ties, loss of familiar lines. It's a lot, guys, but what do you have to say about this palm color woman's statement? Share your views in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching and see you in my next video.